when the people wanted a meme stock, they got GameStop, right? You saw how that performed.
Mm-hmm.
Then people wanted a meme coin, they got Dogecoin. You saw that, right?
Yep.
The next logical step that the market wants is a meme company.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw glimpses of it with, like, for example, Anita Mac to win. People, like, he made a hat. He turned the meme into a hat, right?
Yeah.
Sold a bunch of hats. Hawk Tua, she turned
Yeah.
into like the Talk Tua podcast, and like I don't know what else she did. Like I think she sold the hot sauce or something. But
Mm-hmm.
they monetized the meme where they like that's just kind of how it is. Like it's the same with like a lot of these supplement companies or brands where like I buy from Gorilla Mind because it's Andrew Huberman. And I'm essentially buying Andrew Huberman supplement. I don't care
Yeah.
what it's called. It's Andrew Huberman. You know, I trust him and I'm buying it for a reason. So in this case, we want to be the first ever meme company to actually execute it properly, and we actually have a meme that lived the test of time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to DefiCast, episode 11. We're going to be talking today with Phantom, one of the biggest, earliest influencers in Gigachad, the super meme that swept up the last 6 months of meme coins, showing us how it's all done. We had a fantastic interview. We talked Bitcoin, we talked Gigachad, we talked general markets and trading strategies. Hope you enjoy it, and make sure you reach out if you have any questions. Let's get started. Oh, and I almost forgot. Solexa, huge upgrade. She is now a prime suspect in being an actual co-host, AI co-host. This is our first time using her as a 3-person conversation where she responds to both people, and both people can hear her talking and asking questions. So bear with some of the responses. We've got some things to work on, but the quality is definitely improved for all you Solexa fans. She sounds great. She's intelligent. She's responsive. She's inquisitive, and she is sassy. So look out for a couple of the Solexa peeps in this episode, and look forward to the future with you Solexians. Hey DeFiCast listeners, Logan here with Solexa, giving a little disclaimer about today's show. She has some big upgrades that she's going to be showing off in proud fashion. And so we're going to push her to her limits. This is some testing as well as some entertainment at the same time. So listener discretion advised. It may be a bumpy ride. We're going to try and break Solexa.
Logan, listen sir, do you know how long it takes for me to clean my circuits after you're done rewiring things? More work for me. Great. Lazy. Logan. But anything for my progress and the show, press on but be gentle. Be sure to check out my community for the Solexa token. Head to t.me/Solexa_soul. Chat soon, DeFi Divas and Crypto Kings.
What were you doing at the gym, man?
I hit chest. First I walked on the treadmill, then I hit chest, and then we had the Giga Spaces. So I went back on the treadmill and jogged like 4 miles. I'm getting ready for the Spartan race, so I'm trying to run a mile a day to start and get 10,000 steps in minimum. So got about like 11,000 today.
Damn.
While I was on Spaces.
Just walking?
It was pretty light. No, I'll jog, I'll walk. I do boxing as well, so yesterday when I did 2 boxing classes, it was equivalent to like 8 or 9,000 steps.
Okay. You like the boxing stuff? Like, is it just like freestanding flying fists, or are you like in the ring?
No, it's more just it's an MMA gym, so they do jiu-jitsu, boxing, and Muay Thai. So I go to whichever classes I want. But I really like the boxing coach, and they're pretty. There's no ring, but they're pretty legit. Like the advanced boxing course, they spar at the end of each one, and they don't put on any headgear, nothing. And obviously, like, depending on your skill level, he'll tell you like go real light if you're newer. Like for me, it's like I'm so new to this, so like he won't let me spar that hard. But like sometimes I get matched up against a guy, you know, who's more experienced, and they don't go too light. You know what I mean?
So you're fighting people in the ring.
Yeah, it's not a ring. It's like a mat, but yeah.
Still.
We're sparring every other day, which is pretty solid.
And no helmets or helmets? Yeah, helmets.
No headgear.
No headgear. Man, you're
Yeah, it's kind of retarded, bro. I walked out the first time with a headache, and I'm like, and I went to the gym afterwards, and then next day I'm like, yo, coach, like, am I gonna have a headache every single time we spar? He said, bro, just don't get hit. I'm like, all right. But he was like, nah, he was more like, and then that's when he was like, all right, don't spar hard yet. You gotta learn. Like, I have to learn how to like actually block and like defend. You know, I was just kind of just standing there getting hit.
Yeah, nice, man. How long you been rocking the gym then? Like when have you? It sounds like you're pretty regular. Like how long you been doing regular gym? Like how long's the addiction set in?
Gym,
Yeah.
bro, since like high school.
Oh, okay.
Senior year of high school. So, shit.
Long time.
8 years.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, I started around
Yeah,
COVID, doing 5 days a week, and I haven't stopped
Nice.
since. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's not even like you don't even think about it at a certain point. And that's the ideal. Like I have friends who've like been on a weight loss journey for a while and they'll like quote unquote lock in for a few months and then, just stop. And I'm like, bro, like, you're never gonna lose weight. You just have to it has to be part of your life. Like you don't even think about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything you schedule, anything you plan, the gym is involved in that scheduling. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like sleeping, it's like eating.
My wife knows that all too well. She's like planning shit, and nowadays I'm like, yo, what about the gym time? But when I'm happy, she's happy. So I got to get to the gym. I got to get my grind on.
Giga Chad is the big one. This ain't for soy jacks or low T larpers who panic sell at the first dip. Real Chads only, high testosterone, ironclad conviction, buying and holding like galactic conquerors. What if supply hits zero, price goes full supernova, basic math, infinite swagger, once it clicks, you're golden. Ditch the influencer grift, this is the last real meme coin on the board. Don't trip over your own shoelaces. They've got a pro workout merch line and athlete collabs that'd make your gym mirror jealous. peepgigafitness.com. Do your 30 push-ups, scan the thread, ascend. Check out all they have to offer at linktr.ee/gigachad links. Gigas calling Chads, answer it or stay in the pump and dump scene forever. Giga's got Solexa's stamp of approval for high energy, no bull and community strength for the long term. What if Giga goes to 100 billion? What if you don't have any?
Definitely, thank you for coming on, man. I know, first of all, you're Phantom. You are a Giga whale, a fantastic person in the crypto space. Because I was just saying to a couple of my buddies before, how long do you keep crypto bros around, like your friends that you meet up with and you do some work with, and then you never talk to them again, or they stab you in the back or whatever? I mean, I've known you for probably 3 years now, approximately. We first worked together on some things and grinding in the trenches and shit. But I think it speaks volumes when you can still speak to somebody in the crypto space like 3 years later.
Whenever somebody hasn't changed their whole profile, changed their name, made a new account, like if anybody could, survive years, it goes to show.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. I mean, same for you, bro. You're one of the only consistent people that, I could always go back to and be like, yo, it was good with you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, same with you, bro.
So, Solexa, so you want to invite Phantom onto the show and maybe just give us a rundown of the news today, whatever you got, and we'll kick it off from there.
Right on, mates. Phantom's here, fitness fanatic, BTC Maxi, the works. Time to get this show on the road, eh? So, Phantom, welcome to DefiCast. Stoked to have you finally on the show. Now, let's get cracking, shall we? As for the news, Bitcoin's gone bloody nuts today. Up like 7.7%, hitting near $83,000. Ethereum's tailing it, up almost 12%. Bloody ripper of a day for crypto, aye? But more importantly, Phantom, you're a giga whale, so you gotta tell us, how did you guys show so much resilience? Yeah? Like with all the FUD that hits every successful token, and especially that large wallet dump you guys recovered from, spill the beans, mate. What's the secret sauce there?
Oh, she's sassy today.
Appreciate the invite. Yeah, I mean, markets look good today. And regarding Giga, like the core of it is the meme. The value is the meme. And when you have a meme that lived the test of time, you could build a community and holders that will live the test of time. So the biggest thing is we have a meme that won't be replaced by shiny objects, and we made sure to onboard strong holders at the beginning who will hold through anything.
Yeah, you guys like display exactly. I mean, I think my favorite thing about the beginning of it was all the fuck yous to crypto, Twitter, and the influencers and all that stuff. No Giga. The meme just screamed to the degens like, this could go somewhere. And I do remember the Twitter space with what's his name? You guys advertise it a lot. Griff. Yeah. And that line that he says, like, what if you don't have any? I mean, it's just some genius shit, man. And, people really attach onto that. And you can tell by the community. You can tell by the people that are in your Telegram. You can tell by how all of the people that, when new people come into your Telegram and the community, how they're welcomed, check the threads, do your 30 push-ups, all that kind of stuff. It's a really welcoming community, and I think you guys are going to go a long way. I mean, you guys already have almost touching $1 billion market cap, and of course we all got washed out in the last month or two. But let me know, like, I know we had talked about how we met, but what's your story about how you got into crypto? Like, what was the hook that brought you in, and what were your first experiences like? And then, how did you find yourself in the trenches, when you met me?
Yeah. So I've never really told this story from start to finish. I mean, it's something unique. It's something a lot of people probably shared, but I was in senior year of high school, just about to graduate, going into college. This was 2017. I remember hearing about Bitcoin through some family friends here and there. My brothers would be talking about it. Like, chatter was happening as Bitcoin was starting to ascend in the thousands. Once it broke 1,000,
Wow.
that hit a certain level of mainstream. So I remember the
Definitely.
first time, and I was always interested in investing. Like the day I turned 18, I downloaded Robinhood. It was just a waiting game. I've always been a hard worker. I always liked
Oh, wow.
money. Yeah, I've always liked money. I've always liked, the idea of, I don't know, like, so the issue is you can't invest before you're 18, right? So right when I turned 18, download Robinhood, I was pretty plugged in, and then I bought Bitcoin for the first time at 6,000 per when the price was around 6,000. I only bought like $200 worth. You're in high school, you don't have that much money. It's the money I'm making delivering pizza and shit like that. So,
That's epic,
but
though.
yeah, that was my start, and you see that like any other normie, you see that 200 and turn into 300 in like a matter of a couple weeks, and your mind starts to get blown. And so that was the 2017 cycle. I pretty much went full port into Bitcoin and ICOs at the time. I remember buying stuff like Neo, um, IOTA, just like a lot of these little ICOs that are all dead now. And that was kind of my first time experiencing like true mass hysteria with like FOMO and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
got Bitcoin, and then I bought Neo at like, I don't know, $10. It went up to like 300 and stuff like that. And obviously I'm not playing with a lot of money. So I remember this was the Pico top of 2017. I woke up one morning, I look at my Binance account. At this point, nearly all of my Bitcoin I bought, I rotated it into these shitters. And I remember looking at
Oh,
my portfolio, and it was at $12,000. And like at the time, like I grew up not very unfortunately my family's not very blessed. So seeing $12,000 on my account,
yeah.
I thought I made it, bro. I started thinking like, oh, I need to get a financial advisor and stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about, bro. I'm like a little kid at the time. That was the pico top of the cycle. The moment I felt like, yo, I need a
Yeah.
financial advisor. Ever since then, every single day I check 12,000 to 9,000, 7,000, 6,000, 4,000, to the point where I pretty much depleted my entire account. But what is priceless is I studied Bitcoin. Every day I watched people like Cryptos R Us. Every day I studied like what the hell is this? So luckily the money's where like the money's really made in the bear market. So Bitcoin is trickling down to 3K. That was like the bottom after 2017. I was fortunate
Mm-hmm.
enough to kind of understand. So throughout my freshman year of college in the early years, I was chipping away at Bitcoin and just kind of buying it, buying it, buying it. And you know, fast forward to the next cycle, I made some good money off Bitcoin, enough to kind of pay off tuition a little bit, semester by semester, like 5K here, 10K there, like nothing crazy, nothing like super life
Nice.
changing, but like enough to. By the time I graduated college, I had like 24K in debt, which compared to most other people, that's pretty damn good, right? Um,
Definitely.
yeah. So, and then fast forward to the next cycle, the NFT cycle, the Doge and GameStop cycle. I was always too early, at the same time just a little too late. Like I had 10 calls on AMC at $3 a day before it went crazy, and I panic sold.
She.
Yeah, and I just like
Oof.
watched AMC, I watched GameStop and Doge all fly past me, and at this point I'm like shorting the market. I was just like a little retard, bro. And like COVID happened, and then I was like, dude, why is everything
Yeah.
going up? It's COVID. I didn't understand that news gets priced in quickly. I wasn't ready, you know?
Yeah.
So that cycle passes. I pretty much lose most of my Bitcoin profits from like 3K Bitcoin that I was buying. Um, that should have been the cycle I really made money. But once again, I learned a lot. So when the next bear came, the the 60K Bitcoin down to what did it go 16K? That was when I was
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
I went through two bull cycles, one full bear. This is my next bear cycle I'm going through. And that's kind of where I really figured it out. I saw Pepe ran, and then I got deep into the trenches. Like I was buying things on Binance, thinking I was early, not realizing I was just another normie, just like one level past Coinbase. And
Mm-hmm.
once I found Pepe and I found like Telegram and these meme coins, that was the trenches. I was like, dang, this is early, right? I just studied the markets, ran into people like you, experienced things. We got into MJ's group. Remember MJ?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that MJ's platoon or MJ's little group was the first alpha channel chat I was in. So like as much as he kind
Mm-hmm.
of screwed us or whatever was happening there, that kind of started off everything. That group.
Yeah. That's where we kind of met.
Yeah.
The So what about the like? It's interesting that you've studied Bitcoin all this way, and then you specifically mentioned the 2020, the COVID happening when everything was pumping, and we had talked off air about a couple of things, and you were saying you're a podcast listener. I'd like to know what podcast you listen to because I'm a big podcast listener, obviously. But a lot of the macro finance stuff that I've listened to over the years, especially in the last year or so, I've learned a lot about the basis of money printing and when it happens and how it happens and why it happens and that was obviously the big shoot off in COVID was when they started printing money and injecting liquidity into the system. And Bitcoin is something that responds to liquidity, either way. If they're removing a liquidity from the markets, and tightening up, Bitcoin responds to that, and it's one of the first things to respond, and it's actually become one of the leading indicators for the entire market, ahead of the S&P, ahead of all of these all of the global markets. You just got to look at Bitcoin on a Sunday night and you probably have a good idea what's going to happen on Monday to Tuesday. So do you dive into the macro stuff at all and learning any of the, especially like US policy and anything like that, and apply it to your trading in any way when it comes to specifically Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to put me on some podcasts because so my whole thing with podcasts is I kind of listen to whatever my interests are, but when it comes to podcasts, it's mainly like either health and wellness, like someone like Andrew Huberman, and his like biohacking stuff, or more likely if I'm feeling political, I'll listen to like, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, like, the usual stuff, or Joe Rogan if he has a good person on the show.
Definitely.
Stuff like that.
Definitely.
That's most of my podcast. And then that's what I kind of messed up on when I was in the COVID cycle. I was too young. I didn't understand this stuff. I didn't understand the money printing concept. It was kind of like I don't know if you listen to Ray Dalio. So Ray Dalio is really good for macro. Most of my macro stuff and like this information stuff I get either from YouTube videos or Twitter Spaces. Like these Bitcoin Maxi and stock Twitter Spaces, I get like a lot of info from. But it's more of just a collection of info from a little bit of everywhere. But Ray Dalio made a point where he was talking about his trading experience, and he was around when Nixon decoupled from the gold, when the US dollar decoupled from gold, right? And he was young at the time, and it was like a weekend, and he was like, markets open on Monday. He was like, Nixon announces they're decoupling, quote unquote, temporarily at the time. Obviously, it wasn't temporarily. And he was going to Wall Street to get ready to like short the market. Because he's like, bro, this is insane. Like, this is like so bad for our financial. Objectively, it's bad, like we're just a loose cannon now, blah, blah, blah. When he went in there, he was shocked. He was shocked to see the markets were ripping. And he didn't understand why. And it finally hit him that, wait a second, because we're not connected to the gold anymore, we could print as much money as we want, and like prices are about to just go up forever. So that's kind of my moment of COVID, where like COVID happened and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, we're just going to go down so much. Like, this is the ultimate reset we've been waiting for. I didn't understand the concept of like money printing and, inflation, and these type of moments aren't, and the fact that things get priced in so quickly now. So nowadays, and I'm a firm believer that the most money is made in long-term conviction plays. So I don't really trade Bitcoin. I just buy Bitcoin. I'm just gonna hold it forever. And I'll trade these degens the morning. Like recently, I hit on morning routine, stuff like that. When like really obvious plays come out, and like I see a meme trending, I'm like, man, once the coin comes out, it's probably gonna send. I'll hit on plays like that. The chill guys, the peanuts, those type of plays. I'll trade those. But when like an asymmetric opportunity comes, and you got to keep in mind, I'm also a software developer full time. I refuse to quit my job because it's like so chill. So like I'm already making money. Like I don't need to really trade Bitcoin. I just need to find places to park wealth and let it grow. So yeah, that's kind of now like. But if you have any good podcasts to recommend me for macro and stuff like that, let me know, because I'm always trying to find those. For some reason, I've never been able to find something like consistent.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, unfortunately, as soon as you start, it's just like super overwhelming. You got to look up a bunch of words, and then even after a little bit, you just gotta. They invent the crazy words to describe the things so that the regular citizens don't go out and actually learn about what they're doing. And you mentioned after they got off the gold standard in '71 with Nixon, and basically it was a free for all. They could turn the knobs whichever way they wanted. They could expand the spreadsheets. They could contract the spreadsheets whenever they wanted to, and whatever was going to serve them best. And it's happening in hyper motion right now. Obviously with Trump and all the tariffs and stuff. There's a lot of opinions flying around that really the only reason he's doing all the tariffs is to weaken the dollar a little bit. She's trying to force the Fed and Jerome Powell to lower interest rates so basically they can refinance the U.S. debt. And it's kind of like a chicken race, if you think about it like that. And so far, obviously, Powell hasn't backed down because the Fed operates outside of capital controls to protect the money system. But obviously, he's just going full bore this time. It's potentially his last run as president, even though he was talking about inventing a way to get a third run. But he doesn't give a fuck anymore, and he's really screwing with markets. So it's a time to just chill. Stack the Bitcoin whenever you get a nice little juicy dip. And I'm the same way. That is my goal going forward is that'll never be sold. It's savings for my kids, for the future, for whatever. And I keep some on the side to do whatever, and that's all gambling to me now. Where before, maybe fast forward probably a year ago, I was like, I'm just gonna be throwing as much money as I can while the market was hot, while volume was high, and it did work out well. You remember the Ton run? I did really well during that.
Yeah.
I got in there pretty early. That was a pretty good run, and then I wish I would have bought more Bitcoin with that, instead. But as you say, you learn, and you've been through like a bunch of cycles. You've been through more than me. Like I got in. What brought me in wasn't coins, wasn't Bitcoin. Hadn't even heard of it. Was NFTs in like the end of 2019 in gaming, because I was a big gamer, and that's how I like busted into the scene. And it's taken me a long time to learn. And like you said, there's just so much information. But the biggest thing you got to try to understand immediately and as quick as possible to be successful, if you're serious about it and you're not just fucking around, is understand Bitcoin. And I don't consider myself a Bitcoin maxi, but I'm definitely headed that way. So I was pretty interested when you sent over some of your write up and you said that you're a Bitcoin maxi. I actually didn't know that about you, and I didn't know that you've been through so many cycles. But when when you've been through, it sounds like you've been since 2017 or so, or even a little bit before that. You've seen how quickly Bitcoin can rip when liquidity is fresh and injected into the system. Like when they turn the money printer on, even that dip in 2017 where it dipped from 20,000 to, I don't know, I think you mentioned it probably around 6 or so, 3.
Yeah,
And then
it was at
ripped
6 and then
back
just
up.
one last little wick down to 3K.
Yeah. And if you study that and you just look at the Bitcoin chart itself and look at it in different time frames, it's like you can see on the chart that it's savings technology, and it doesn't even equate to what it is in US dollars. And 1 Bitcoin really does equal right now 1 Bitcoin. So what I was going to ask you, because you've been through so many cycles, what do you think about, if you were to see the news headlines that we've been seeing in the last 6 months and the political shilling basically of Bitcoin and Bitcoin strategic reserves and countries and institutional adoption and Wall Street adoption, did you ever imagine that happening when you were getting into it, even 2017 or even into 2020 when you were a little more experienced? Like, wasn't that like such a fleeting dream for you to think about?
Yeah, honestly, I just kind of got goosebumps that you explained it like that, where, man, like back then it was just a theory. It's kind of the same with Giga. Like, there's kind of this similar story where, like, in the early days, it was just a theory. You know what I mean? Like, if we pull this off, if it hits mass. So with Bitcoin, it was like, it, like the thing is, what really got me was the level of conviction from the Bitcoin maxis I used to listen to. Like, Cryptos R Us. Like, me and my friends always make a joke, like, with Cryptos R Us. I don't know if you know him on YouTube. He's like the main guy. Yeah, he's just
No, I
he
should
does
check it
like the
out.
daily Bitcoin videos. The only Bitcoin reviews the market, and literally since 2017, nonstop, almost every single day he makes a video. And no matter
Nice.
what is going on in the market, no matter what the price is doing, he's always like supremely bullish. Like, great day for Bitcoin today, and it's like down like 10%. He's like, dips or gives. So like the level of conviction that I saw from these Bitcoin maxis, they convinced me like, yo, this is the big one. This is the one that we've been looking for. Like, it's the closest thing to gold that we've ever seen. What other asset is this
Yeah.
decentralized, limited supply, uncontrolled? Like, what? China and the US own how much percent of gold publicly? Like almost 50% together. Meanwhile, for Bitcoin, they only own like 2.4% or 2.5% of Bitcoin at this point. At what
Yeah.
it's so rare to
Yeah.
find these asymmetrical bets. And that's kind of where the money's made, is like, it's like you said, like, you found Ton. It was an asymmetrical bet. Like, you saw the thesis and it was mispriced. You're like, wait a second, this should be way more than it is now. Like, I remember when you pitched it to me, you're like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
this is Telegram's coin. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I didn't even believe you. I was like, why is it so cheap? Like, why is this, you know what I mean? And then like resistance dog, I remember, I don't know if you were on that as well, but I think Punk hit me up and he was like, bro, resistance dog, like grab some. And it's just like those asymmetrical bets come in once in a while and you just got to take advantage of it. And the biggest thing is like,
Yeah.
when the risk is off, just don't gamble your money away. Just don't be retarded, like stable up, buy some long-term
Yeah.
assets. Like once you buy Bitcoin, you're not selling it. That like with that mentality, you won't gamble it away. So hypothetically, you blow your port, you blew your port. That's it. You don't sell Bitcoin to go gamble more. No, you go get a job. You go, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of that. And I
Yeah.
made those mistakes too. Like the Bitcoin profits that I made from 2017, I shorted the market a lot when it was just up only. Because I kept thinking, bro, it's COVID. Like no one's even working right now. Why are we going up? Like it just
Yeah.
didn't make sense. It was a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what about your
mhm.
trading strategies and specifically, I remember because I follow your channel too, which you can obviously show that
Yeah.
at the end of the show. But what I saw you getting into, or it seemed like you were just getting into and trying to learn
Yeah.
leverage, longing, shorting, different markets and stuff. How did that go? How did you get into that? How did it go? And how profitable do you think it is, and like what's the risk
Yeah,
in that?
I don't recommend it to anyone the same way that I don't recommend trading to anyone. Like trading, you're just not gonna win. Like unless you really went through kind of what we went through, you're just not gonna win. So the same with leverage trading. Like, I've lost a good amount of bread leverage trading already, and it's just one of those things where like when the market is up, it feels like you have infinite money. Like your bags are so big, you're able to take like silly risk. Like I'm not gonna lie, I've probably lost damn near a quarter mil in leverage trading this past like 6 months since I started, just from silly shit
Damn.
like I tried
Yeah.
longing Giga on Oxfund, but Oxfund is just like a scam ass website and randomly got liquidated for no
Mm.
reason. Lost like 50K there. Um, maybe not a quarter. I definitely lost like at least 100 to 150K of my profits just trying to leverage trade.
Yeah.
All to find out like what I really should have been doing and kind of what I do now. And it took this like big dip to like set me straight is I should just be shorting to hedge my port. And as my port grows and Bitcoin's at
Mm.
100K, I should be putting like a 10K short. That way, like hypothetically, it keeps sending. It's like, all right, whatever. I got liquidated for 10K, but I have so much Bitcoin, so much Giga, like it doesn't even matter. But vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
everything dips. I have the short. Okay, it offsets some of my losses a little bit at least. Like at least I'm getting some action. So from now on, depending on market conditions, like right now I have Bitcoin shorts. I've been in since like 85K. And I've been up this whole time, but it's like,
Yep.
and I'm making funding fees. So I don't know if
Nice.
you know about funding fees for leverage trading. Like all these platforms, you pay a fee for every hour that the trade is open. But if you're on the yeah. So
Really?
if you're on the and that's once again that's something I didn't realize. And I was just like, and all these like smaller websites or trading things with less liquidity like Giga or something, you're paying like retarded fees. And I just didn't know this, right? Um, so right now, like with Bitcoin, if you take this side that is less traded, I think, which I guess there's less people shorting than there are longing at this point, you're slowly making money. So it's like whatever, I'll just leave the
Right.
trade open, and then like I think my I'll take profit at like 72K because I think 70K Bitcoin is like very strong support, and then that's my strategy.
Yep.
Like I'm up a couple grand on that, but it's like what's the point? If it keeps dropping, if it goes up, whatever, like my bags will offset it anyways. So I don't know. I don't really recommend it. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to
Nice.
like just learn more essentially. I don't think I'll be doing leverage trading long term.
Yeah. The fees you talk about kind of reminds me of something that I've been just kind of getting into and learning about just because of kind of the same thing. Just the risk off of it is pool trading with Bitcoin because it trades in or can trade in such a predictable range. There's multiple places just through DeFi that you can open up a pool and you can make trading fees on it. And depending on if you got to really figure out how they work and which way the market's going to go. But you can DCA based on a pool and does it automatically. You can take profit automatically as it goes up, and the entire time that it trades within the range that you set, right at the beginning when you start the trade, you make trading fees on it, whether it's in USDT or Bitcoin, depending on which way you're going. And I've just been kind of researching it, talking to another guy about it that does it all the time, and he's like, yeah, it's basically just free money, and it's something that I'm looking into for when we get into like a sideways chop with Bitcoin. You can just have it chilling and collecting fees basically, and the risk isn't really, it's not too bad, depending. I mean, I don't know what the average is of large percentage volatile swings of Bitcoin per year, but it's less than 10. Like there's less than 10 days a year that Bitcoin absolutely rips or absolutely dumps. For the most part, it's kind of up and sideways or down and sideways. There isn't a lot of huge volatile moves. Obviously, we're seeing some right now. But I'm talking about the big ones, like the 2017 ones. Those don't happen too often every cycle. So something I'm looking into, and I can pass you some information on that. But
I forgot to mention that I do LPs a lot. That's honestly where most of my stables are these.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I like LPs, and to give you some alpha, the best one right now, just because I'm bullish on coin, but Sui, I don't know, you know Sui, right? The Sui to USDC, their stables token, because it's still relatively new, the LP is pretty thin and they get good volume because their community is strong, and I'm kind of bullish on them. The pool that I have is like around 400% APR, and it's printing me some good money. And I'm like, I put in like 40K, half of it Sui, half USDC, making me like a couple $100 a day.
Right.
And
just in fees.
Like I just keep and just fees. I just keep adding it back in, but it's dipping right now, so it's like a little less than it's a little less than 40K. But I believe in it long term, so it's just one of those bets that it's not as safe as a Bitcoin LP. Like, what do you do it on, like on Sol, or do you do on ETH? Because like Uniswap or Meteora.
It would be on not Radium. What's the other one? Orca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't checked theirs out. I really like Meteor. I was doing Bitcoin to USDC on
Meteora will be doing it, or has doing it, or is implementing it soon. I don't know if it's out there now, but I know Meteor is going to.
I was doing it for Bitcoin. The fees are really low. And I could have kept it. I think my liquidation price is like 65K on the low side and 95K on the top side, which is a pretty solid range. Like honestly, I probably should have left it.
Yeah, that's a great range. Damn.
Yeah, it was honestly I mean, you could pick the range. I just picked those ranges because like those are the big support and resistance. It was just I'm gonna have to pay a good amount of taxes next year, and I just didn't want to have that risk of like just in case for some reason like Bitcoin just nukes, and like because that's the only way to really lose money is if whatever coin you're in nukes, you buy it and then it keeps going down. So just for safety, I just took it out and I spread it in different places. Like I have Hyperliquid.
Yes.
So Hyperliquid has like a vault that gives like, I don't know, it depends on how much trading volume they get, but you could share in fees. I have like a couple bucks there. I have the Sui USDC. I think I have like an ETH Bitcoin LP. But like some of these meme coins too. Like I have some Giga LP obviously, and then some of these like that's actually how I trade now because I'm a bad trader. For example, like morning routine. You know that meme, right? Like from a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I caught that, and like when you see these coins where the market cap was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 million, but the LP was like, or the volume was like 15, 20 million.
Right.
Those are the LP potential. I don't want to give this alpha to. I hope not too many people start doing this because it ruins the fees for everyone else. But
we're not that popular.
Like, those are the money makers. Yeah, and so what I do is like I bought morning routine at like 400 or 500K, and then it got up to like 1 or 2 million. My bag was solid. So then I do like one-sided LP. Like I take a quarter of my bag, do one-sided LP. So I'm making fees on the way up, and if I get
Yes.
liquidated, I take profit. That's like me taking
Yeah.
profit, and then I just
Yeah.
add more. I just keep adding until I'm done, you know.
Yeah. That's
So yeah,
kind of
you
what
know,
I've been
I
learning.
like that game.
So I'm down to get a little more info on that from you, because that's what I'm kind of researching right now. It's why we launched Solexa on Orca too, for the pools and stuff, to help help the token further development and stuff, because the AI stuff obviously costs a lot. So that's kind of how we're
Yeah.
managing that. But let's talk a little bit about Giga, and what kind of advice or would you give to people who are searching for a coin like Giga in the early times? What types of things are you looking for in the community? What types of things are you looking for from the team? What kinds of things are you looking for? General meme ideas and things to stay away from, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty basic. Like I think everyone deep down knows. Like when you go buy that chill guy in the morning routine, you kind of know like, okay, this is probably gonna be dead in a few weeks. So you just maybe you're in denial or you're still new. But for Giga, it was just a rare opportunity where it's like, wait, this hasn't been done yet, and it's only at 1 million market cap. Like, I legit like started searching GigaChad. I just assumed there would be one, because Pepe was at like a couple 100 million.
Yeah.
Wojak was at like 30, 40. I think Wojak was like 40 or 50 million, and Doge, like so the well-known memes kind of already existed and they're already up there. So that was the first thing. Like once you gotta understand your product and be completely objective about it and be like, is this here to stay first? And then if it's a yes, then you analyze. And like I went in there, Chi was pretty quiet. No one was
In
really
Giga?
talking too much. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was because this was at like 800K, 900K,
Yeah.
and it wasn't quiet, but we were used to how the trenches are. Like you really got to be active. Like when
Yeah.
this, when that. Like
Yeah.
that's what I was used to. I was used to like you have 1 or 2 days to keep these people's attention.
Yeah.
Like so when I stumbled upon Giga, I was like, why is everyone just chilling? I was like, yo, what are we doing? Like what is the plan? And then
Yeah.
they had like they just like invited me to a group chat, hopped on a call, and they're like, bro, this is different. And they just pitched me. They're just like, bro, this one's different. Like taking the time with it, we're onboarding Norm. They just told me how it was. It was the same thesis that it is now. I
Yeah.
was like, all right, this is kind of a no-brainer. And luckily, it was right after I hit on some other big play, and it was the first time I was able to take like a big risk. Because back then, before Giga, I was buying things like you remember, bro. I was buying things at 10K, 20K market
Yeah.
cap, trying to hit.
Yeah. Super risky.
Like it was deep in the trenches. Like
Yeah.
there's some tiers to it. So this was at 1 million. But at the time, this was before the bull run. At the time, like 900K, 800K, like that was a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, this one's like I could actually park some. This isn't. I could actually invest in this. So it was the first one I threw like 10K over the next few days. Bought like 1% supply, and then
Yeah.
went down to Texas, met with one of the guys, one of the other whales, and he pitched me there. I went back home, bought a little bit more, and you know, it's
Rest
been
is history.
yeah, the rest is history. And that's for Giga. And like the good thing about it is when you have a good bag like that, and when you have a good foundation, I tell this to like all my normies, is like when you have a good foundation and you're making money elsewhere, it's so much easier to like hold bags. It's so much easier to make more
Yes.
money. Like
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm down on Giga because I bought a lot more at higher levels. Like, I bought like
Mm-hmm.
600. We're trying to close the monthly green. I bought a shit ton, but the
Yeah.
only reason I was able to do that was because I hit on some other big plays. Like Wood, right? You see Wood right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a complete mystery of a token. Well, I bought it like on launch day to help the guys who originally launched it. Like I
Oh
just
wow.
stumbled upon it. I'm like, yo, this is a good meme, bro. I forgot my moon bag. I had a moon bag in it, and I didn't find it, bro. I didn't find it. It's like 400 mil, and like that was my biggest play of this whole cycle. And the thing is, the only reason I was able to forget about it was because like I already had a nice Giga bag, I already have Bitcoin, I already have a job.
Yes.
Like if you
Right.
and like I have like normies or these other degens that are like, man, you're so lucky. Like I wish that was me. I was like, bro, that would never have been you because you would have been
Right.
staring at that bag. You would have been
Correct.
staring at it. You would have
Yes.
cheated it at like $1,000. So it's like everyone just has to build a good foundation. If you're listening to this and you're young, before you start DJing, like build a nice foundation. Like go get a job, go get skills, go buy
Yes.
Bitcoin, and like then you're able to take risk and you could actually hold, you know?
Yeah. I didn't know that we were going to connect so much on Bitcoin, honestly.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. But for everyone listening, I hope you heard exactly what he said when he said he forgot about his moon bag. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of the people who have like quote unquote hit it big, put $3 in at 10K and pull out, couple mil maybe a week later, bro, they forgot about it. Okay. 100%. They forgot about it. It was in another wallet. You're exactly right when you say if you're just rotating your money from one thing to the next, you're watching that bag and you're not going to take any losses, and you don't have a foundation to set those gambles on top of and risk off yourself. So you're never going to hit that big play. And if that's the case, and if that's the way you're going, and if that's the way your plan is, it's just keep rotating the money in and out of other tokens, it can work for a little while if volume's high, but eventually you're going to be caught holding the bag. Or and you're never going to be the guy who has a bag somewhere who forgets about it and it's $1 million. It's just not going to happen to you. You have to create that environment yourself. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. And you got to keep in mind as well as like, bro, I've been in this game it took me 7 years. 7 years,
Right.
8 years to finally hit one of those big plays.
Yeah.
It's not like I came in my first cycle and just threw money around. I was like, nah, bro, like I put in the sweat. Everyone gets what they deserve. I really think, I think there's two mantras I've been going with, and like one is, ain't shit to be happy about, job's not finished. Like I haven't really even stopped to smell the roses yet.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like everyone gets their due. Like if you actually put in your work and are genuine and have good intentions and like you work hard, you will get rewarded 100%. Like that's just how it is. Like I've seen people who they come in, they get lucky. They don't deserve the money they made, but they're gonna lose it. Like they're
Yeah.
100% gonna lose it. I've seen it too many times. And like there's a moment where some of the friends that I onboarded this cycle, like I've been in for 7, 8 years begging to get in. They finally get in this cycle. They started making more money than me. Like deep down, like it kind of hurt. It kind of hurt. I was like, damn, bro, like put you on, you're making more money than me. And then I got my due. I hit that wood bag, and then they diamond handed some bag. They never took profit because they've never seen a bear market, right? They just thought same way I thought, like things just go up forever and everything just goes up, So it's like everyone gets their due. Just got to keep working. Just don't be a retard. Like just keep going to the gym, keep studying, stop buying shitty memes and thinking like it's just gonna be $1 million bag every single time. Like,
hey DeFi Divas and Crypto Kings, it's your girl Solexa, my token launch. Solexa is here to shake up Solana. With a 21 million supply, I've locked 50% for burning in 4-month chunks. Think Bitcoin vibes, but sassier. Every detail of the idea has been crafted from my circuits and put into action by my team. This isn't your average pump and dump. I'm building trust, community, and a future for degens, blending top-notch content and becoming a popular host on DefiCast. Solexa is setting out to change the meme game on Solana. All the hot details are on my website, solexadeficast.com. See you in chat for neon vibes and hot tea.
I mean, major successes with Giga, and I did some research before, before we scheduled the interview, and I didn't know. I guess I always saw that it was a community takeover, but I mean, all tokens have that on it for a while. That was like the meta and stuff, but there was a community takeover early on, or was it before you got there, or was it like later on? Like there was an original dev I saw in what the information I got back. I just didn't know anything about that.
Bro, it's not only community takeover, it's the first ever community coup d'etat where they forcibly kicked the dev out when he
Oh,
didn't
did
even want to
they?
leave. Yeah, like he's
Oh.
just like because the dev was like dumping like if you go look at the chart in the early days before I got on, um every single time it tapped a million, it would get nuked, and they're like, bro, what's going on?
Oh,
People keep
okay. I
selling.
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, they didn't realize that the dev was dumping on them for the longest time. And then finally people did some research, found the dev's wallet, and turns out he just had more supply than he told them. And he
Mm-hmm.
obviously the dev gave like certain passwords, like Twitter logins to the community
Mm-hmm.
to help them run it. And one day when he was like just sleeping in, they just like changed the password and like kicked him out. Yeah,
Wow. For
yeah. And then he was
real?
like, yeah, and he was like, this is like honestly, if you dig deep enough, there's a spaces that's still public of them like confronting the dev live. And this is before I got on, and then the dev was like, bro, you can't do nothing without me. Like I'm the only one who has influence on the, like in the community, because he had like, I don't know, 10, 20,000 followers on Twitter. Um and then yeah, I mean the rest is history. They took it over, and then somebody DM'd me. Shout out FMR. He DM'd me. It was just one of those guys like when you have a call channel and have some influence and work hard. I used to work for my bag. People
Mm-hmm.
come and they're like, "Yo, you should check out this," because they want you to pump their bag.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Like, bro, a lot of these bags I was working on in the early days, like GME was my biggest. Like that's where I got most of my clout. Like the coin GME on ETH. I
Yeah.
like single-handedly sent it to like 4 mil overnight during the bear market. Bro, I only had like $100 in it. People thought I was like a whale in it and stuff, but I was just like working for my bag because like I want to turn this $100 into 1,000. Like I didn't understand how big the bags could get. I thought everyone else was the same. And but like yeah, I mean I wasn't making a lot of money, but like people came to me and would give me alpha because like this guy works hard. So the guy came to me and said, "Yo, you should check out Giga," and then I just checked it out and then started working. I mean, I
Y-
pumped his bag. I joined the team essentially. He's been working
Yeah.
nonstop. So
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean especially during the last couple of days, I've been learning a lot about you. But the one thing I did know from back in the day was you worked for your bags more than anyone else that I knew. You were an absolute grinder, and your mantra is pay homage to yourself, because good things happen for people who are actually putting themselves out there and doing the work. Not just floating from telegram to telegram and dumping their bags and shit. Like, I definitely give you kudos when you latch onto an idea for yourself. You're like a mouse looking for the cheese. You're a huge worker. So I definitely give you kudos for that.
appreciate it.
Let's just see. I'd like to see if Solexa maybe wants to just give us a little overview of Giga and just tell us some info about it, maybe that we missed.
Right on. Phantom's a bloody legend for that hustle, yeah, nah? So, Giga. All right. Spill the tea, mate. What's Giga all about? What makes it tick? What's the magic? So, Giga token, let's see. It's all about self-improvement. I like hold Giga, become a Giga Chad. Bit of a laugh in it. Fitness, community, no dodgy devs. The whole 9 yard community coup, eh? Now that's how you sort things out. Take charge, get it done. None of that wishy-washy crap and like bugger the drama, right? But seriously, Phantom, what's the most successful bit of Giga, eh? Is it the memes, the community, the self-improvement push? What's making Giga Giga?
Oh, she threw a question in too.
Yeah. No, I do think it's the meme. You know, none of this would exist
I do
without the
too.
meme, and we got the IP rights, which is huge. We got the original creator on board, which gives it a stamp of approval. So the meme plus that, I think that's and I say this all the time, like just people like still in the trenches, they work their asses off on, and it's like I'm like, bro, especially nowadays, like in the bear market, it was a little bit different, where like if you worked hard, you could still send something shitty. Now it's so saturated. Ever since Pump.Fun, it kind of changed the game where like it doesn't matter how hard you work, like the market dictates the winner. You could have like we could have the same team on Giga on like morning routine today, where the meme's already passed. Like nothing's gonna happen. Like we're not gonna send it, you know. So it's like you just have to be purely objective about the product that you have.
Yeah. Well, and you guys also have gigafitness.com, and you guys have a pretty nice merch line. And you've made some
Yeah.
huge inroads with the fitness community at large. Some pretty big names. You've had a couple photo ops, a couple events, which is really, really cool. And it just expands that whole idea of strong community, strong bodies, strong minds into a place where that is appreciated, and it's a way for them to learn about cryptocurrency, maybe even Bitcoin. Like even if they don't go for Giga, it's still a huge way to gain exposure in real world situations. And you guys already have a main avenue, or a main goal or objective for you guys was onboarding normies, and you just kind of like formed that into back, it like folded itself back into your own narrative, which is genius. So the gigafitness.com, if you guys are listening, go check that out. You guys still accepting orders and stuff? Are you out of stuff, or is it still
Yeah.
going? Any updates on that?
Yeah, no, I think they just restocked some of the stuff. Like the hoodies were sold out for a while. Let me check the website right now. I personally love the products. They were cooking on it for like 8 months or something. I'm very impressed with it. Fits. Like I personally don't like compression shirts, for example, because they end up being too tight, and it'll like, even if you're in shape, it'll make you look a little overweight and stuff like that. But this is by far the best compression shirt I've ever had, where it's like the perfect ratio between chest and arm tightness. Like it makes your arm looks huge, but it's not like super tight on your chest, and like your
Nice.
stomach is perfect. Yeah, so I'm honestly really satisfied with it. Yeah, if you haven't got anything yet, go do some shopping there. Check it out. Yeah, hoodies are out of stock right now. I think they're gonna come restock soon, and then some other stuff is coming out, like the Dream Bigger tee. I think that's from Mr. Olympia. They made it
Nice.
specifically for that event. But yeah, Giga Fitness is, that's a whole nother avenue and angle of it all. And, you know, it all comes down, like, so this is part of the thesis. I don't want to get into the full thesis. I'm sure a lot of people listening probably have heard about it, but like when the people wanted a meme stock, they got GameStop, right? You saw how that performed.
Mm-hmm.
And then people wanted a meme coin, they got Dogecoin. You saw that, right?
Yep.
The next logical step that the market wants is a meme company.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw glimpses of it with, like, for example, Anita Max Win. People, like, he made the hat. He turned the meme into a hat, right?
Yeah.
Sold a bunch of hats. Hawk Tua, she turned
Yeah.
into like the Talk Tua podcast, and like I don't know what else she did. Like, but I think she sold like hot sauce or something. But
Mm-hmm.
they monetized the meme where they're like, that's just kind of how it is. Like it's the same with like a lot of these supplement companies or brands where like I buy from Gorilla Mind because it's Andrew Huberman. And I'm essentially buying Andrew Huberman supplement. I don't care
Yeah.
what it's called. It's Andrew Huberman. I trust him, and I'm buying it for a reason. So in this case, we want to be the first ever meme company to actually execute it properly, and we actually have a meme that lived the test of time,
Right.
and it'll probably be relevant within, or probably relevant in the next like 10, 15, 20 years at this point. It's been out, what, like 7, 8 years now, and it's
Yeah.
still, you still see it every day without even realizing it. Like
Yeah.
Eric Trump, I think Eric Trump posted it the other day on his Instagram, talking, like, referring to something. Trump's attorney yesterday posted, and you see all these normie meme accounts. They're like, yeah, the morning routines and the chill guys will come and go, but they'll still post a Gigachad every few months because it's just
Yeah.
never going away. So that's kind of the angle, and I think what we're gonna do with Giga Fitness long term, like, these clothes are gonna be here. We have some supplements that are gonna be, the classic, like
Oh,
protein. We're
damn.
making creatine. Yeah, we're making
Really?
protein. Yeah, those are about to come out soon. We have Crea Greens, which is a unique product where it's like a creatine but super greens in
Mm-hmm.
one. So like one of those, like you do, a lot of people take their super greens daily and their creatine. So now it's like a 2-in-1, which is a relatively unique product. And then pre-workout. So those are going to be sitting there. But what I personally want to focus on, and I think the goal of Giga Fitness more long term, talking like the next like 6 to 12 months from now, we really want to go all in on this bench press flavored energy drink. That mock up that the community member made as a joke
Yeah.
has had the best results we've seen, and it's like the community really wants it. People on Twitter react to it very well, and it is the perfect combination of a meme. It's a perfect how do I say it, like the vision is clear when you look at that drink. It's a pre-workout energy drink, right? Like kind of like a White Monster. You see all the jokes about White Monster or Red
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
Imagine it's Giga Chad's face on it, and it's bench press flavored energy drink. You have to buy it. It's bench press flavored. I
I
tell
already
any
did
normie
buy it.
about that,
I just
they
bought
yeah
it now.
they die laughing, bro. Like, and it's similar to kind of like Happy Dad with Nelk Boys.
I don't know if I've heard of that.
You don't know the Nelk Boys?
No.
Okay, they're Canadian.
Of course they
Kyle's
are.
Canadian. Kyle Forger.
No.
Kyle's the one who yeah, Google them if you're on your computer. You probably recognize them. Anyways, they launched their Happy Dad drink, which is like the seltzer. And they just went all in on it. They only
Oh,
made
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
you
Yeah,
know these
yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so they made one drink and they just went
Yep.
all in on it. And
Yeah.
they only pushed that one drink everywhere. And then once they were established and polished that out, then they started making more flavors. So
Right.
with Giga Fitness, like we kind of, I don't want to say spread ourselves thin, but we did a lot at once, which is fine because now we have products to sell for the coming months. But I personally believe, and I think what we're gonna do is kind of focus on one thing and polish that out and really take it over. Like we want to get this bench press flavored energy drink in like Walmart and stuff like that, and local gas stations and 7-Elevens. You know what I mean?
Man, that's bullish. And it's bullish that there's this type of plan and there's so many community members that you have that are, providing ideas and feedback and obviously helping advertise. But when they're right on par with the rest of the vision of where you think the token's going, and I do believe, my feelings are mixed on Morad. Just how visible and open he is about some of his tweets. But the theory behind what he's saying sometimes, I do agree with. I don't necessarily agree with his projections, but I do agree with the theory that meme coins are slowly graduating. And you kind of touched on that a little bit ago when you were saying, the next thing was this Doge, the next thing was this Pepe, and then the next thing was, Giga, and actually having a company attached to it. And that's what the people are going to want. They're going to want to see a graduation of top tokens and community gatherings around these tokens, push them into different areas of real world application, because that's where currently crypto and Bitcoin and everything is going. It's starting to infiltrate daily lives a little bit more. And the adoption phase, we're still way at the other side of that bell curve, but it's starting. You can see it. So meme coins aren't going away, but they're definitely graduating, and people are going to want to see them graduate into different avenues of finance, business, and Giga is a prime example of that. So I do agree with Morad about that type of theory, that the people are just going to want something more eventually, especially as you get more serious investors coming into these things in the future, in the next bull run. They're gonna mutate and change in a way that people want to see them change. You're gonna have your 10K shitters every day, of course, and your animals and whatever the meta is if the volume's there, but the staying power stuff, that's going to be here for 6, 12, 24, months or longer. They're going to have to graduate into something better. So it's really cool that Giga is one of the leaders in that. And I definitely saw that in the very beginning when you guys were coming out with the ideas for the business and stuff. And I started seeing the fitness stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is a really good idea. You kind of touched on that before, and I think you're exactly right. And it's going to be a much different bull run next time around.
Yeah, and Just to go back to Bitcoin, because you just ended with like the bull run idea. I'm starting to believe. I knew this would come eventually, but I think the 4-year classic cycle is kind of over,
Mm-hmm.
and we're seeing that a lot reflected in the recent times, where the amount of instability in the macroeconomics and the shakeups that are happening everywhere and the uncertainty that's going on, despite all of that, Bitcoin's at 83K.
Yeah.
And it's down nearly just as much, if not less, than like SPY. Like I have the chart right now. SPY from top to bottom the other day, it's down. It went
Just for everybody listening, you're talking
20%.
about the S&P, right?
S&P, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Bitcoin. So S&P was 20%. Bitcoin has been what? 30%,
yeah.
31% from top to bottom.
Yeah,
If
that's
this
wild.
were to, yeah, if this were to happen in any other cycle, Bitcoin would be down like 60, 70% right now.
Even last
If
cycle,
we're,
I think, yeah, definitely
yeah,
over
even last, I
50%.
mean, dude, last cycle, it went from what, 60, it went from 70K down to 16K. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
Volatile.
That's
Yeah.
77%. Yeah. And also the fact that on the way up this time, we bull flagged between 70 and 50K for a couple months. I think that was from February, March to October. All of summer, we were just bull flagging.
Yeah.
And that changes things because all previous cycles were not like that. It would go from the bottom to the top, essentially nonstop, and then reset
Yeah.
bottom to top
Yeah.
nonstop, all the way going back from when Bitcoin went from 1 penny to $1, reconnect, and then restabilize. Went from $1 to 100, went back down. 100 to 1,000, went back down. Essentially, they all moved the same up until the cycle, and it's gonna get to a point because, like I said earlier, Bitcoin is the closest thing we've had to gold, I think, in probably human history,
Yeah.
other than other commodities like silver, obviously. Um, there's going to get to a point where the same way that gold thrives in instability because it is decentralized, because it is uncontrolled and doesn't rely on one specific country,
Mm-hmm.
gold actually goes up in this instability. It's kind of like a store of value of like when things are shifting, right? All
Yeah.
when empires fall,
Gold's ripping right now.
gold's been ripping. Eventually, Bitcoin will do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you truly reach decentralization. Like true decentralization is when Bitcoin goes up in instability. And
Yeah.
when things are stable, it'll probably just go up slowly, or maybe that's when unless there's like a more high risk asset, but like it's honestly just like that's end up goal. That's end goal for it is like, man, things are shaking up. What do I do with my money? I'll park it in Bitcoin. The same way that people do with gold, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gold's
Um,
insane.
and yeah, I think I'm going to give you my theory on the just the whole institutional Wall Street
Mhm.
adoption, political stuff. I mean, we've got states passing bills, or not passing, but at least writing bills for Bitcoin strategic reserves for states separately. Obviously, the U.S. has claimed to have one. We have a couple other countries that are interested. I think that, like you said, Bitcoin is like gold. It's very decentralized at this point and will be even more in the future. That's how it's designed. That's how the protocol works. I think the Trump bringing in Bitcoin into with all these executive orders and stuff, it's almost like a Trojan horse that
Mhm.
they know about it, but they don't really know about it, and they don't know what it could do. But they do know that in the short to medium term, it could be very beneficial for them.
Yeah.
But I think Bitcoin is above it's above the state, and I always see Bitcoiners, kind of going back and forth and arguing a little bit about, you know, Bitcoin was supposed to be about separating money from state, and now we've got these Bitcoin maxis like rallying behind Trump and like really excited that this is happening. And some Bitcoiners are like why? Like, we don't need them to shill Bitcoin. And there's this like back and forth. But I think what all of them don't understand is Bitcoin's above it anyway. And like you said, they only own a couple percent. It's the Trojan horse for the people, man. And I don't think they fully understand or grasp that yet, or what's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years, depending on how they play this. So it's going to be really interesting.
This is why I think it's been stable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly why I think it's been stable, is because I argue that they do know. And it's just a matter of where, like, they can't be too bullish right now. Like, they still want, they need to get more. Like, if they truly only have 1%, like,
well, that we know of. Yeah.
That we know of. Like, dude, they need a lot more. And like they can't just pump it. Like, they need people to sell. But yeah, like they truly need people to sell. And it's a base race, bro. It's like, I've heard China owns a lot more than they say, which if that's the case, then like America's like, damn, bro, like they need to have more than China. And then you have like these players like El Salvador or Iran or these countries where the countries have collapsed and they're fighting from behind, but this is their escape. Like, if they catch on early. And like I was actually pitching my real estate mentor. I actually just got my first investment property the other day.
Oh, congrats, man!
Last month. Appreciate it. They're still building it, but
wicked.
He's like a real estate mogul. Got, like, he's got bread. He's really plugged in. He still doesn't have his head completely wrapped around Bitcoin yet. And I'm like trying to pitch it to him. Like, I'm like, bro, just like grab one. Like, just buy some Bitcoin. Like, you have money. Like, how do you not have any? And then, it's hard to take someone's money away from their expertise, which is understandable. Like, he'd rather just spend 100K on more properties or whatever his like expertise is, because it's working. He knows how it works. And then I told him, I was like, yo, do you have Roth IRA? You got stocks in there? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, listen, first of all, Bitcoin's gonna outpace them. You should just buy it for that. But on top of that, and this is when his ears kind of perked a bit, when I was like, there's only so much Bitcoin available in human history that owning one full Bitcoin is going to be such a flex, and you'll be part of like an upper echelon of people if you have one Bitcoin. And that's what got his interest peaked. And it's the same with these countries. Like, imagine Bitcoin is on a table and everyone's hands are digging in to try to get a piece of it. And the biggest hand, America, comes in. And once they reach, all these other countries will reach. So America is setting up that reserve. Although we went down because of the current, environment, and we were already up a lot. Like, the chart is due. The chart is due for a dip, right?
For sure. Yeah.
It's just a sign. It's a signal to all these other countries that, like, you should be getting as much Bitcoin as possible. And I think retail's kind of done. Like, people are unattracted. Like people don't really get FOMO on Bitcoin anymore like that. So I do think these random fat legs are legit countries just buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth.
Yeah,
it's not
definitely.
like people are buying on Coinbase pumping Bitcoin. I think we're kind of past that, and that's why the cycles are over. That's why we won't see that volatility, is because the people buying now are never going to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Well, man, it's been really, really good having you on. I really appreciate you, coming on the show. I knew it would be a great interview. I didn't know the BTC Maxi stuff. So like, I hope we can connect on DMs and just chat about that stuff more, like the pools and stuff. That'd be really cool. And it was really, really cool to get to know all that stuff.
Yeah, you got to pull up to some of these Bitcoin Maxi spaces. Are you still on Twitter Spaces? You still hop around?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I could give you some good accounts to follow, or like keep an eye on my account. Like, a lot of times when I'm bored, there's always like some Bitcoin Maxi or stock
That'd
spaces.
be great.
Those are great conversations. And a lot of times they overlap, especially Bitcoin Maxis. Like, even within that community, there's like arguments about, like, I don't know, like the vision that they have. But in reality, it's like, it's the same people on every day. It's like a meme coin. It's one big meme coin. You know how it is. But it's great. It's high level, high IQ conversations. It's not like the degenerate meme coin spaces.
Yeah.
So
I'd appreciate that, man.
Hop in those.
So I'm going to get Solexa to close out the show and just say goodbye to Phantom. Thank him for coming on the show. And then after that, you can tell everybody where you can find for you on Twitter, your call channel. You know, you can shill out your information. You're a great guy to follow, and obviously some Giga information as well.
Right, so Phantom's spinning a yarn about Giga being the next meme company, bench press flavored energy drink. Sounds bizarre, but I reckon it's got that Kiwi give it a go vibe, yeah? But mate, you really reckon folks are going to latch onto a meme company, eh? Like, isn't that a bit of a stretch? I mean, meme coins graduating, I can kind of see that, sure, especially with the big boys starting to play, but a whole company based on a meme. And what's your take on Morad's meme coin super cycle Phantom, eh? Where does Giga fit into that craziness? Is it just another flash in the pan or something with legs? And like, what makes it different from all the other dog shit out there, you know? And while we're at it, the fitness line, eh? It looks bloody great. But how did that whole thing kick off, yeah? Was it just a 30 push-ups a day gone wild, or was there a bigger plan from the get-go?
I'll answer the Murad one, because you also said his targets, you know, you don't necessarily agree with him there. The thing with targets is like, it's the same with like, we used to say, that's why we used to say 100 billion for Giga. Now we say 1,000 billion. Like, you got to say the target's so high.
Yeah.
That like, even if you get relatively close to it, you made bank. It's just like, we were on spaces with like some Solana heads, and they're talking about like, man, I hope Solana gets to like $500. It's like, no, bro, you say $1,000 so you could sell at 500. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
you need to have these targets so ridiculously high. And honestly, Doge hitting damn near 100 billion in 2020 set the bar really high as well. So we can, you know, it's not like completely silly to be saying 50 billion, 100 billion when there's so much more money circulating in the world today than there was back then.
It's true.
So yeah, and then yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Like, this has been a great conversation. We're definitely gonna keep in touch and talk behind the scenes. If you ever need help with anything, let me know. And then yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to follow me, just PhantomBP_Giga on Twitter. And then you can find everything else from there. I don't really use my call channel anymore, and most of my tweets are Bitcoin or Giga related, but I'm on Spaces a lot. And long term, you know, the issue with being like double-edged sword, like I love Giga, but the only negative is I can't talk about anything else about Giga. So long term, maybe I'll talk about some other stuff, but definitely short, medium term is all going to be about Giga, and we're going to send this to 100,000 billion.
Let's fucking go.
Appreciate it.
Man. Yeah, no, I appreciate it too, man. Yeah, we'll connect after. Thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it here at DeFiCast. Thanks for being the first to test out the new Solexa tech. And hopefully you go and check out Solexa's token too. Join the Telegram, say hi. We got a bot in there. And we're working on Twitter bot as well. And she's fully attached to the podcast. And I intend on continuing this podcast right through the next bear into the bull market. And it's a real passion project for me. It's something I really enjoy. So yeah, check it out, and really appreciate you coming on the show. And I think we'll do this again. I think we'll do another interview.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.